Om. We are looking on the Sutra number 41. It's talking about Samapatti. Samapatti is that the mind is one with the object. What is Samapatti? Samapatti is a process in Samadhi. Process in Samadhi. That is the difference between Samadhi and Samapatti. Samadhi is the state attained by practice. This is the process or the progress happens in the Samadhi. It's a process happening in the Samadhi. After this, you attain Samadhi. When we say process, like we remember, the memory is an attainment. If memory is an attainment, then the remembering is a process. After remembering, you get the memory, the correct picture of the memory. Everywhere it is like that. You feel hungry after the body process completes. The body is in the process of, then that is not known. After that, when it completes, digests the old food and the small intestine is ready for next food, then you feel hungry. So this is the difference between process and the attainment state. So here also the gunas are there. The gunas always have modifications. They cannot stay still without modification. In Samadhi also, gunas as modification. So they are changing, ever changing. So we are talking about that. Now, then, when you concentrate on an object, tastha, mind is still there, and tadanjanata, and mind takes the shape, the color of the object. The mind becomes the object. So when mind becomes the object, you see only the object there, nothing else. So this is the process. It is happening. And where you have this, it is said, grahitra, grahana, grahyeshu. Grahitra, grahana, grahyeshu. In all three. Here you can see that. The grahita, the grahana, the grahya. The receiver, the receiving, and the received, receivable. Subject, verb, and object. You have the old graph which is showing the Samprajñāta Samadhi, the variations of Samprajñāta Samadhi. In that, there is a second column, objective, instrumental and subjective. Grahita, Grahana and Grahita. Now what it is? What are these three? These three are there in one cognition. These three are there when you know an object. When you say, I know an object, the I is there. And the knowing process is there. Knowing, the action of knowing is there. And the knowable object is there. Each thought has all the three. Now, normally we cannot divide this tree. We are not dividing it. When I say I know, I am with all this one. I know only the object, I know this. I is not separately known, and the knowing is not separately known, and the object is not separately known. It's all one. Now you see, the difficulty is we don't know how to separate one thought from another thought. That is the basic problem we have. We never did it. From morning to evening, we are continuously thinking one by one and something happening, something. We don't know from where the thought starts and where it ends. We are totally unaware about that. Now, without knowing, without realizing the thoughts, connections, how can you separate the thought? It is impossible. That is why I told you, you try to count the thoughts. It is the homework needed for understanding this. Because when you try to count, at least you know how it is working, how we can do it. You are just realizing yourself with it. You are objectifying your mind. Otherwise, talking about this is like you feel like a miracle. If something is happening, so I'm just talking, or something is related to our mind and thought. That much you know. You will not know what is this whole process is about. What is about this? Why it is needed. Now, first, if you can count the thoughts, then you will realize each thought has a gap. You have to feel the gap. And that gap is unfilled. It means you are thinking about drinking tea. Okay? So now tea came to your mind. Then somebody told you, no, now it is not tea time. Then you thought, okay, then I drink a juice. Now you see, first the thought was, I wish to drink a tea. So it was about to complete. It was about to take the action. The opposite idea came, no, this is not tea time. So now the first thought broke. There is a gap. It stopped, and immediately new thought came that I may drink a juice, going to the shop there, canteen there, and drink a juice. So now you put these two objects. One is juice, one is tea. Now if they are interconnected or not? They have any connection? Both are drinks. And both are drinks, and the next thing is you are going to drink both. So you are ready to drink tea, and you are ready to drink. So the you also the same. And if you see the drinking, that is also same. It is true, it is same. But the object is different. And the thought process is always object oriented, not the subject oriented. Because subject is always subject there. Subject is still. That is the problem, we don't know subject. Because subject is always in the same form, same action. Only we know the subject when we are hurted. If somebody hurt us with some words or something, then we feel what is subject is. Because we say, I am hurted. So that only in that time you feel it. So otherwise no. Now these two objects are two thoughts. In each thought there are three divisions. This subject and object and verb. You are thinking about drinking tea. Tea was an object, you was the subject, and drinking or the thinking about tea was the verb there. Now it went off. Then there was a gap. That gap you cannot see. Then the next thing comes. And how next come, that is why he put a second person there. He obstructed the first thought. First thought was about to take the action, but the second person who was with you, your friend, he or she obstructed. So then you broke the thought there, incomplete. Now you changed the thought into juice or soup or water. So this is, I am trying to put it that you may understand the difference between two thoughts. But one thing what he said is right. Why after tea this juice came up? Because the desire for drink was same there. That is the same. But the thoughts are not the same. When the object changes, thought changes. That is how we calculate the thoughts. Otherwise it is impossible. Okay? Now we are trying to meditate on a single thought. If you want to make a single thought, you know how long you have to practice? Now in this situation, you are unable to count thoughts, unable to separate thoughts, unable to control the desires connected to thought, the objects connected to thought, and subject and the process, then it is very, very difficult. I cannot say impossible. It is possible, but it is difficult and takes time. The first you must know to separate the thoughts. Then find out where the thought stops and when it takes a new form. So what is the interconnection? Then the repetition is easy. Because why we hold a mala? You can just chant without mala. But our scriptures say, without mala, japa is not allowed. You must take a mala, japa mala, then with count, you do japa. There is a scientific reason. The scientific reason is this. Now you are unable to understand the connection between thoughts. You know where the thought, we don't know where the thoughts breaks, stops. But if you hold the mala, mala is indirectly helping you to break the thoughts in the brain. So you know, 1, 2, 3. These movements, no? You don't count, there is no need to count. If mala is moving, this movement itself gives a signal to the brain that 1 is over, the second is over, and third is over, there is a gap. So everything is registered in the brain, and that is useful for further meditation. People ask why this mala is used. What is the necessary of mala? In all religion you see, they are holding a mala. There maybe for their counting, they don't know the reason behind it. The scientific reason, the scientific reason why we do that. So when you do this with the mala, each mantra goes to the brain, is separated there. The brain is informed well that it is separate. And now the gap is not filled. Gap is gap. Because you want to one after another, two. When you study brain science, you know this, beauty of this doing japa. It's very useful, very, very good for the brain, stimulating the brain. So that brain is now functioning systematically. So the practitioner who is doing the japa, he also, his thoughts and his actions are systematically regulated, sequentially regulated. So you can think, you can learn one after another, many, many things, and you can connect all those things. So this is the process of the thought, divided into three. No, that is happening because you are concentrating on mala and doing japa. It should change the thing there. For concentration, we are doing that. I am talking about the reason behind it, because normally we are unable to disconnect, give gap to one after another. So here, this mala japa helps to calculate that. It is not immediately the effect is achieved, but if you know the effect, what is the effect, it is good. That is why japa is helping for meditation. Because if the thought process is regulated and countered with, it's easy to control that. That's all. Now, in the thought process, we have three. Now, first you concentrate on this thought process. Okay? Three different subjects. The sutra says, you can be identified with the object. Grahana samapatti. No, grahya samapatti. With the object. You are one with the object. You are mean now mind. Okay. So mind is one with the object. That is one samapatti. And after some times, when you realize, when it changes into the process of knowing. So you are concentrating on knowing process. That is another samapatti. And then you are realizing that I am the knower. The I-ness is clear there. Then the third samapatti. The grahitra, grahana and grahya. And now how it changes, why it changes? Why he is talking about all the three? This is the division in a single thought. Not we are controlling the thoughts. Controlling the thoughts that is different. That is dharana. It is for beginners. So they control the thought one by one. Here, the division in the thought, and then the practice is samapatti. Because you are practicing samadhi, while practicing, you have this samapatti. Why it happens? Because when you are concentrated, identified with an object only, in that moment, for a moment or so, mind stays there. And then by the nature of mind, because it is guna, and guna is always changing, you are concentrating the object, then the process of concentration is identified there. It is within mind. The same thing, how we are seeing the object, that is seen there. So you are identifying yourself with that. It means mind is there. And again, the changes are on progress. It goes back to the subjectivity there. The I-ness. This is not very difficult stage. Because we see the object, we know we are seeing it, then this concentration can happen. So this is called samapatti in general. This is in all samadhi, the samapatti is general, this is the general process. So after this, you enter to the samprajñāta. Now this has 4 variations. Savitarka, nirvitarka, savichara and nirvichara. Now after nirvichara, you enter automatically into asamprajñāta. Because each identification, each samapatti is penetrating to other stage. The penetration is there. Why? Because of your previous practice. Your auto-suggestion, willpower, what you desire to do it. So we were talking about that in the morning. So that penetrate, that information which was feeded there, it takes you to all the way here. And if you are still in the concentration level, you may go to all the level of samprajñāta and enter into asamprajñāta. Now, this is the progress, how it happens. Next, tomorrow morning also, we will talk about this more, because this is more important in this. You have to do some homework. You don't stick on the words used here. you try to understand the idea conveyed. If you are only sticking to the words used here, if you are missing the idea, you cannot understand. Because these words are only signs, indications. When you know the idea, you know the words. This is the problem with studying this thing. If you don't know the idea, what is conveyed, that is not communicated, then the graph is for no use. So that is why just try to understand what is happening. We are talking about a single thought, and there is 3 divisions. And now this single thought is going to be divided into 4. You have to imagine. Now single thought divided into 3 is difficult for us. Now this is inside it is a ingredient of the thought. Now we are going to talk about the 4 levels of meditation or samadhi happening in this single thought. The object changes its forms and samadhi happens. That is samapatti, the process we are talking about. Because vitarka, vichara, ananda, smita, they are the samadhis. We have not understood how it happens, how we attain that samadhi. So here the attainment is discussed. Okay, these 4 sutras, now next 4 sutras will be like this. You need some extra energy in the brain, some concentration and relaxation. I am trying my best. I am very careful with the speed, because I usually talk with more speed, but here specifically I controlled my speed, but we have to adjust with that. I think my speed is okay, but Swamiji said next day your speed is okay. So then I am now daily I am practicing that speed. So next day also we will continue with this. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.